So this is the Olympus E-M5 Mark III with the Panasonic 14 to 2.5. I'm using the external microphone. So this is the food. Can you show the food? So I'm using the Harmonic Blink B500 with my Fujifilm X-S10 18mm f2. I know there's a lot of noise. Sorry for that. Some construction work happening. So I'm using the external lav microphone because I really do not like the motor noise of the 80mm f2. It gives me a headache, to be honest with you. It sounds like a washing machine. Can you show the food? So can you show the food from close up? Can you show the food from close up? So standard profile, active stabilization 4K. So this is the video quality test. I'm using the shutter priority at shutter 60. ND filter off. So can you show the food? Also get closer to the food. Get more. I'm going to have a morning breakfast. This is the close-up test of the Fujifilm 80mm f2. I'm using the external microphone Harmonic Blink B500. This is the outing journal close-up macro test. So this is the autofocus test of the Olympus E-M5 Mark III with the Panasonic 40mm f2.5. बस करो. This is the autofocus test of the Fujifilm. This is the autofocus test of the Fujifilm 80mm f2. The tracking and then the sensitivity, all of them are set to high, +5 and +4. I'm using the external microphone Harmonic because the 18mm f2 make a lot of loud noise. बस करो. This is the autofocus set on. This is the autofocus test on the SONY ZV-1. everything as standard setting. This is the out of box setting you are going to get. This is the E-M5 Mark III. I'm using the Sony Panasonic 14mm f2.5. I'm using the portrait profile. How good is the IBIS? I'm using the Sony. Sony with the 18mm f2. So I'm using the classic chrome Sony Fujifilm 80mm f2. Sony. So right now I'm using the landscape creative style. Before I was using a picture profile one, everything as stock. So if you are a travel vlogger, normally in day you can make like hour and hour of video. For example, if you have around 1 hour of video, it can take you around 5 hours, somewhere like 5 hours. If you have 1 hour of video, it will take you around 5 hours. And this is the standard stabilization. Yeah, Sony ZV-1 standard stabilization. So it will take you around 5 hours to render the entire 1 hour video. I mean, I hate using, even I have the paid Catalyst version which I can do batch rendering, but still, like, I mean, one downside is the super slow rendering time. Second is 90% CPU use. Now Catalyst Browser is not for me. Is this standard stabilization? Okay, and I'm using the Blink B500 Pro. So I'm using the standard stabilization. I'm using the landscape creative style. Before I was using the picture profile one. I'm using the IBIS and then the digital stabilization with 1.19 crop. So it turned the 14mm into like somewhere around 16.5 or 60.8mm. And I'm using the viewed profile on the E-M5 Mark III. So yeah, it looks quite fine, but it's quite close up. Technically this become like a similar to 17mm on a micro four third or a 35mm on a full frame. I'm using the EIS with 1.1 crop, 18mm Fujifilm f2 classic chrome. Now I'm using the standard profile, the standard creative style. Yeah, this is the standard creative style, +2 saturation, +2 contrast, and -2 sharpness. And this is the active stabilization. It's very good. My only gripe is that the 24mm times 1.19 crop for active stabilization, it become around somewhere what, like around 13mm. I'm not sure. Let me see. So you just focus on the stabilization. How good is the stabilization? Okay, 24 times 1.19, it become around 29mm. So this is the 29 full frame. Yeah, Yeah, still you can technically vlog. I think so. You can vlog with it. The autofocus is amazing. Autofocus is really very much amazing. So this is active stabilization. Again, the active stabilization on the Sony ZV-1 is much better than the on the Sony ZV-E10, which have 1.4x crop. Even then, the stabilization is quite shaky. Sony ZV-1, I'm using the landscape profile and I'm stabilizing this video in the Sony Catalyst browse. The downside, not only the biggest downside or the biggest drawback of the Catalyst browse is it take around 5 minutes to render 1 minute video. For example, if you just have a simple 12-minute video, like it's very common to have a like 12-minute, 20-minute video. If you have a 12-minute video, it's going to take 1 hour to render a 12-minute video or like 1 minute video. Again, if you want to render around 12 minutes of time frame, it's going to take you around 1 hour. When you are rendering it, then you cannot use your laptop or your PC. Why? Because 90% of the CPU load will be taken by the Catalyst browse. Again, you can do some basic web browsing. I have tested this one on both on my M1 MacBook Pro, 16GB RAM, 1TB storage. Also, I tested on my 6-core hardcore gaming PC. Again, 90% CPU use. Normally, I love to do multitasking when I'm editing video. Most of the time, my video editing software take around 45 to 50%. So I can edit images.